Good morning, or good afternoon as it is today. Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining me at Cuddles and Milk in Petaluma. Today we are talking on our Thursday series, getting towards the end of our low milk supply today. So I wanted to touch on one thing that tends to happen with low milk supply is moms feel like they need to buy everything that offers to help mom's milk supply, and that might be mother's milk teas, cookies, fenugreek, mother love tablets, all sorts of things. And I've seen moms come in that are struggling and trying to get their supply up, and they've got bottles and bottles and bottles, and they've spent $50, $60, $100 sometimes on all these cookies and pills and teas and everything else. So I just want to address that today. When you're working with low supply and you're really trying to help your body, I would say number one is if you're that concerned about supply and you're feeling like you really need to boost it, you should be working with someone. So find an IBCLC in your area and get some help, okay? Get someone who knows what they're doing, who can be your buddy and can help you figure this out and can walk you through the options and tell you what actually works and what doesn't. Second, I really want to take the mother's milk tea and the cookies off the table. There is not enough in them to be beneficial, especially compared to their cost. Okay, you would need to drink a lot of mother's milk tea. It's not bad for you, totally fine. And if you like it, great, have it. But if you're struggling with supply and you barely are making enough for baby and you feel like you really need to up it, mother's milk tea is not where it's at. Okay, it's just not going to help enough. And the cookies really don't have that much in them that you need to buy. I've seen them sometimes $5 for 2 cookies, which is just outrageous. Mostly what the cookies will have in them is some oatmeal, some brewer's yeast, and maybe some flaxseed. Pretty basic stuff you can probably easily get at Whole Foods or to natural grocery store or something, and put in and make yourself some oatmeal raisin cookies for a heck of a lot less than 2 for $5. And there's just not quite enough in them to make it really a big booster. You might notice a slight difference maybe if you're drinking a lot of the tea with the cookies, but you'd have to have a lot. As far as the other ones, the Mother Love, fenugreek, and all of that, I go back to it's really best to be working with someone. There are sometimes fenugreek is totally fine, but if you're diabetic, if you've had any sugar issues, fenugreek is not a good choice for you. It can affect your blood sugar. And some women just don't like the fenugreek. They either wind up with some side effects, or when they take that high dose of it, they wind up smelling like maple syrup. And not always a good maple syrup. Sometimes mom would say that it's like a sweaty, sticky maple syrup, and they really don't care for it. So that's, it can be a little negative there. But my number one go-to is moringa. Moringa is a superfood as opposed to an herbal supplement. It's a little bit different. It's really great for you. It's great for brain health. It's a really wonderful thing for you to take as a woman, regardless of your breastfeeding status. So there's really not a negative to taking some moringa. So that's a great option. If you are, interested in trying to find out how much moringa you should be taking, or how you can boost your supply with foods and different things like that, or what to avoid, that's when you really want to be working with an IBCLC, okay? There are foods that can affect your milk supply. Most of the foods, though, that affect it negatively, that will decrease the supply, are things like sage, mints, but you have to eat a lot. I don't know anyone who could eat enough sage to affect their milk supply. We'd be talking about eating, you'd go to the grocery store and you'd get like 3 of those little packets and eat that for breakfast. That's really strong. Most people would not do that. You might be putting 1 leaf or 2 leaf in your breakfast. That's totally fine. It's large amounts of sage and large amounts of mints that can decrease your supply. But for most women, and drinking mint tea is totally fine. You're not going to get enough of it in drinking mint tea, okay? So again, this is why with low milk supply, I really say, we're going to review really quick. If you've got low milk supply, go back to the basics. Skin to skin that baby. Just because you had low milk supply with your first doesn't mean it'll be there with your second. So preventative, try to get that milk moving, try to skin to skin, feed often, and hand express as much as you can as well. And then make sure you're getting it out. Move milk to make milk. So even if you're in the shower and you're leaking and you're like, oh, the baby's asleep, hand express it. It's great. It's okay to let it go down the drain. The more you get out of your body, the more your breasts will tell your brain we need more milk, then you'll have more next time. Move milk to make milk, okay? If you've done the basics, if you're making sure you're getting at least 8 stimulations a day, baby's getting fed at least every 3 hours, you are hand expressing, you're doing skin to skin, and you're feeling like you're just barely there, reach out to someone. There are IBCLCs all over the world. We are internationally board certified lactation consultants. We have a ton of training to deal with low milk supply, okay? And there's not one answer. I can't give you one answer, and there really isn't one answer because all women are different. What works for one might not work for another. You might have low milk supply because you had high blood pressure with your pregnancy, whereas somebody else might have it because they have what we call insufficient glandular tissue, not small breasts, but not enough of the right breast tissue to make the milk. Somebody else, it might be hormones. They might have a pituitary issue. Someone else, it could be that they had retained placenta and that kind of stalled out their making milk. So there's a lot of different reasons that it can be, all right? And that's why you need to find someone and work with them, because this is a very treatable problem, all right? It isn't always easy. It is a road, though, meant to be walked with support so that we can be your advocate. We can help you figure out the cause and figure out the treatment, okay? So I hope that that was helpful on low milk supply. I know many mamas struggle with it, and it can be a really tough one. So bottom line is do the basics and get some help, right? And don't buy all the tea and cookies. They're just not worth it for the money. They're not going to get you much, okay? I am planning a nice little video where we go out and we look at some of the supplements you can get at Sprouts next week. So we'll see what some of those are, and I'll show you some of the better ones to get versus others, some of the different herbs, and hopefully I will be able to go over to an herbalist soon and show you some options for having something custom made for you, because there's a lot of places that have herbalists and Western medicine sometimes, or Eastern medicine docs that will work with you with herbs, and that can be really beneficial. Okay, so thanks for watching me at Cuddles and Milk and Petaluma today, and I hope you can go check me out on my website at www.cuddlesandmilk.com. All right, congratulations on your baby. Hope everything's going well for you, and if you need anything, keep calm and call an IBCLC. All right, congratulations.